So today we have a very interesting story to take a look at. A story of how a Minecraft server hosting company got hit by over $5,000 of fines that they now need to pay, otherwise they will lose access to everything related to their host. Now this is a hosting company I had never even heard about before this all went down, but I decided to still cover it because it could maybe be a good lesson for other server hosting companies out there that might unfortunately stumble upon the same problem. Okay, so let me take you back in time. Yesterday evening I got a DM from Kian and he was like, Kasai, there is something going on at a hosting company. I don't know which hosting company, but there is a hosting company which got fined more than $5,000. And of course, this intrigued me because what can you even do as a hosting company to get fined $5,000? I mean, maybe not paying your bills. That can lead to fines, but that was definitely not the case here. So I tried looking further into it and eventually Kian sent me the name of the host and also the username of the owner. So I decided that the only way for me to get to know what actually happened was adding the owner on Discord and directly asking him what happened. And it's interesting for sure. So there are of course multiple ways to host a Minecraft server hosting company. In theory, you can reach out to a data center and you can be like, hey, I want to rent a few systems to start a server hosting company. You can totally do that. Then you pay monthly to rent those systems and you can build your own hosting company on there. What you can also do is, if your hosting company is a bit bigger, to for example have an office building and then put all of your server racks in there. Then of course you need to make sure it always has electricity and the internet is on point. Stuff like that. But hosting all of the servers from your own office, of course, also has its benefits. But something else which you can do is purchase systems yourself. So you buy the servers, the physical servers, and then you pay a data center or ISP to host those servers for you. So basically you can buy the systems, you drive them to a data center, and there they provide electricity and cooling and internet and IPs as well. Everything you need to get your hosting company going. And then of course you pay those data centers for that. But the systems, those are yours. Now that last scenario, that is what was going on with this hosting company. The hosting company, by the way, is named Altivox Networks. Okay, but now on to the juicy part. What actually happened? Why does Altivox all of a sudden have to pay a $5,000 fine? Well, I asked the owner, Cam, exactly that. It is such a vague and interesting story. So apparently there is a university in the Czech Republic. So a Czechian university. And that university has a system set up where if one of their IPs, so one of the IPs of the university, gets hit by a port scanner, it will automatically send an abuse report to the provider of whatever IP that port scanner came from. You get it? So, according to Wikipedia, Port Scanner is an application designed to probe a server or host for open ports. That's it. That's what it does. Such an application may be used by administrators to verify security policies and by attackers to identify network services running on a host and exploit vulnerabilities. Now, this is of course the part, vulnerabilities, which the university was actively fighting against. So the university just has a system in place so that if one of their IPs gets hit by one of these attacks, automatically, without any human intervention, an abuse report is sent to whatever IP that attack came from. And now the vague part, allegedly, what happened to this hosting company. Cogent is the provider that Altivox is using for their servers. So basically all of the systems of Altivox Networks are inside of data centers from Cogent. And Cogent is providing electricity and internet and IP addresses that they can use for their host. And Cogent suddenly sent Altivox Networks a total of 46 abuse reports. And every single abuse report made will cost a flat $100. So I guess you can see where that crazy amount is coming from. So again, apparently some sort of port scanning was happening on one of the IPs of Altivox network. Those port scanners somehow scanned or hit IPs of the Czechian university, who then automatically sent a complaint to Cogent, who then automatically sent 46 abuse reports reports to Altivox Networks. Good to keep in mind is that this full system, as far as I know, is completely automated. I mean, they might have checked it, but otherwise, both the university and Kogant barely know that this is going on. The system from the university is just in place and it automatically sends reports, and if Kogant receives reports from a quote-unquote trusted source, I assume, they will automatically bill their users for those abuse reports. So the whole system is automated, everything. Now, something we, of course, don't really know is if these reports are valid. Was there actually port scanning going on some of the IPs of Altivox Networks? That's the question, and I don't know. According to the owner, it couldn't have been any of the staff members, so if port scanning was actively happening, it would have happened on client servers. So one of the clients must be port scanning then. Aside from just micro servers, they were also selling full VMs, so that's definitely how something like that could potentially happen. The owner of Altivox is not sure if these reports are valid, because again, Kogant is not providing any type of information. This is all an automated system, from what I've heard, so they are just getting billed, and that's it. There's no real way for Altivox to prove to Kogant that port scanning wasn't actively happening, and that the reports were in fact false. They are not getting any way to fight these claims, basically. I guess that's the beauty of automated systems sometimes. So what now? What should the hosting company do to get out of this, basically? Well, Cam, who's the one I talked to, basically said that they were just gonna pay it. They are not really able to do anything else. They are currently being kept hostage, basically, because Kogant immediately shut down all of their systems and all of the services they were paying for until all of these abuse reports were in fact paid. In other words, they can't really do anything until they pay. Even moving to another data center would not be possible until they pay these fines. So that's the plan. They're gonna pay it, even though it's not even certain that these reports are real. Now, the Altivox Networks owner also said that he thinks it's really bad they didn't get any preemptive notifications. Like, they had no clue something along the lines of port scanning was even happening. But apparently some of these abuse reports were a few months old. So the university system triggered a couple months ago, and instead of notifying Altivox like, hey, we think there is port scanning going on your IPs, could you please have a look at that? They just decided to find them, but not straight away, but a few months later. It is such a vague story. But yeah, the plan is to pay those bills and then immediately move to another data center. So they are leaving Kogant, they are going somewhere else. They're gonna pick up their systems today, at the time of making this video, and they're gonna move to another data center and deploy everything there again. But yeah, that does mean they had to pay a huge fine. And I do have to say, I'm kind of confused by the exact amount of the fine, because everyone is saying something different. So on the Altivox Networks Discord, the announcement that triggered all of this, Cam said there were 46 abuse reports in total. You can see the total amount due is $4,600. Okay? That's a big amount. That's a lot of money. But when I was DMing with Cam yesterday, he all of a sudden said there were 44 reports, which could just have been a typo. But then I was checking in on their Discord, and I stumbled upon this guy, David, and he again said 46 reports, but they had to pay $5,500. 900 more than was initially thought. I don't really know what is true here. I assume the additional $900 is maybe for leaving Kogant. Like maybe there's some type of fee they need to pay to pick up all of their systems again and move them over to another data center. That could totally be kind of a cancellation fee. If that is true, it gives me Adobe vibes, but that could be the case. I'm not sure. That's just speculation. And yeah, that's basically the story for now. As we speak, everything is still unfolding. Yesterday, one of the owners of the host actually went to the data center to see if they still had access. They didn't. They were not allowed in at all. So by today, they should be paying all of the fines, which according to David, the person who actually went to the data center and was locked out, totals $5.5K. servers, but it could also be 4.6. It's vague. And all of that, they will be physically moving all of their systems to a new data center, and they hope to have their servers online again very, very soon. Now, is there some kind of lesson we can learn from this? I guess that if everything I just told you is true, I would not recommend hosting anything at Kogent. Their system seems awful, because yes, it was a university now, but apparently they have a system where essentially pretty much anyone can just file a report, and even though it is false, the owner of the IP that was reported just has to pay a $100 fine, flat. It is such a weird story, but yeah, if you are a host, I would definitely be careful with putting your systems in one of Kogent's data centers. They seem like a questionable partner. And also just in general, before you put your systems in a data center of some sort, and before you start leasing IPs, make sure to read all the small letters as well. If somebody can just send a report and you have to pay for that, that sounds awful. And from what the owner told me, they are now going to another data center which doesn't have any of that. Like, yes, you can still get fined if you abuse any of their IPs, but it's not like a random university can just send an automated report and without any evidence you then have to pay for that. Also, the owner said that they want to take legal action against Kogent for this. I don't know if that will actually happen, but after the whole move to the new data center is done, legal action is something they will be looking into. And that's basically the story so far. Now, everything I've told you in this video is what Cam told me directly, so thank you so much for explaining all of this. He was of course in a lot of stress already because, well, his host was down. And then a random YouTuber comes in and is like, hey, can you explain what happened? I can see that being annoying, but he was very kind. With that being said, that's gonna be it for today. Do make sure to subscribe to my channel, join my Discord. Thank you so much, channel members, and then I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, see you later, bye bye!